everyone. My name is Allison Dudas, and I'm here from the marketing department at Franchise Business Review. One of my favorite parts of my job is getting to talk to franchisees. This helps demystify the process of becoming a franchisee. So today, I'm with Chad Drainer, who is a franchisee with Express Employment Professionals. And he's here to talk about what it's like being a franchisee. Thanks for being here, Chad.
Thank you, Allison. Excited to be here.
And one of the reasons why we're speaking to Chad is because Express Employment Professionals, the corporate side, actually nominated Chad for a Franchisee Excellence Award this year. So, congratulations on that, Chad.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor.
I'm sure. I hope it feels really good. So, just to be clear, we are only highlighting brands that meet our criteria. And when I say our criteria, I mean brands that survey their franchisees yearly to figure out how satisfied their franchisees are. And Express Employment Professionals made our top 200 list. And then we invited brands from that top 200 list to nominate outstanding franchisees. And that's how you were picked, Chad.
Wonderful.
And one of the things that your franchisor said about you is that you have such a strong commitment to your community. So I'm excited to get into that with you.
Okay.
So first and foremost, Chad, let's grill you a little bit. So when did you open your first franchise?
Cinco de Mayo of 2014.
All right. So that was
Yeah.
a while ago at this
Yeah.
point.
Yep. Coming up on 12 years this year.
12 years.
Mhm.
12 years. And how many locations do you own?
So we have two offices in our Morgantown territory. In this particular, I'm a partner as well in Winchester, Virginia. So two franchise territories.
Okay, so West Virginia and in Virginia.
hmm
All right. Are you often at both of those locations or are you more working from home overseeing?
I'm in office most of the time. Yeah. I don't get to. My partner in Winchester is the majority owner over there. I'm more of a support system for Zach. But gosh, he's been open for a little over 5 years now, and so really it's his show to run. I'm just a big support system for Zach.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so you kind of head up the West Virginia and
Mhm.
he heads up the Virginia one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing things clearly now. So you opened 12 years ago. When you first opened, did you open both locations at once or just one and then subsequently the second?
Open Morgantown. What we found, our territory is pretty broad here in rural West Virginia. And so, we decided about 3 years in, we needed to go to our talent in the southern part of our territory. And so it's really a satellite recruiting station, but it helps, we've got three recruiters in that location. And so it helps round out our team and it helps us, stay in front of the talent in that part of the market. Our offices are about an hour apart. And so, our satellite office has been open down there for almost 9 years now.
Mm, Wow. Wow. And tell us a little bit about what Express Employment Professionals does.
Yeah. Well, we, partner with top companies in the area, just helping support them through their staffing challenges. That could be finding a long-term permanent employee. That could be helping from a contract or project, and even the short-term temporary fill-in needs. We're pretty diverse. Heavily our territory. We're heavily invested in professional and administrative placements. We do a lot in skilled trades and obviously the light industrial world as well. But I think, with our market here, college town, a little bit of a more of a rural community. I think we've really been able to thrive in that, administrative office services and professional setting.
Mm. And what drew you to this franchise opportunity? What were you doing before and what made you change
Yeah.
gear?
So I'm very fortunate. I come from the restaurant and hospitality world, and gosh, a little over 12 years ago, I was at a crossroads
Mm.
and needed to just make a change. And I was very fortunate that one of my best friends from college is a franchisee, an Express franchisee in New York, and we were talking, and he said, come up and spend a few days in my office, and I got to see the magic happen. Just how they were able to bring in talent and to talk through the types of partnerships they had with great companies. I knew what I went through, in the past with trying to find talent and just the challenges that companies deal with, and it really kind of clicked for me. And so, as I started talking to Express and realizing, I was drawn to the family environment, I was drawn to at that point, a 30-year-old brand, with a proven system and formula and recipe. a company that preached franchisees first. And, I was lucky enough to have that validation of a friend in my corner that could, just validate that everything they were saying was 100% true. And so, I was very thankful for, the referral and introduction from Michael, and then just the guidance that he provided as I was doing my due diligence.
Yes, I mean, we hear that time and time again. So, like I said before, I get to talk to franchisees quite a bit, and doing your due diligence is challenging enough. But when you actually have a friend who's a franchisee, it makes it so much easier. And you can trust their answers. You know that they're going to give it to you straight. They're going to let you know if something is really good. They're going to let you know if something isn't quite great, and give you the whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Very, that meant a lot to me. And he was spot on with all of that guidance.
yeah. It sounds like you're glad that you did it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so you were in the restaurant industry
Uh-huh.
before. Obviously, you were, as you mentioned, you were deeply in touch with staffing challenges, and then now you're on like the
Uh-huh.
solutions part of that and helping companies with staffing. What do you feel like is the most meaningful part of your job?
Well, I think just impacting the community. We get folks who are looking to make a change in their career, and they need assistance, or they're just looking for that better opportunity. You get some folks that come in that are down and out, and you don't know how to make ends meet, right? And you get companies who are struggling. They open their business to run and operate, make the widget or sell the thing, but the human resource side and recruiting side isn't necessarily their forte. So I think getting to partner with those entrepreneurs that need to focus on what is their most important thing, and that's running their business. Being that resource for them, being an arm, and a resource for the community that's looking for that needs that assistance, and being able to bridge that gap and bring those together. Being a resource, being able to educate our clients on, where they are in the market, and being able to give them feedback on maybe where they need to be competitive, and really just become a consultative resource for them, is super important. I think, for me, I think the rewarding side as well now is providing an opportunity for our internal team. We have developed multiple franchisees out of this location. We being able to provide them with a career path to say, hey, yes, you're in this role right now, but let's talk about where you could be. Where do you want to be? And I think that's as equally rewarding, as the staffing side as well, as just
Mm.
providing these future opportunities for the folks that we have on our inside team.
And just to clarify for
Mhm.
people who are watching who might not know the system,
Okay.
so some of the people with whom you're working, you're in your internal team, go on to become franchisees in the Express Employment Professionals system.
Well, yeah. So I'm very lucky. We talked a little bit about people, and I think that it really the other way I think true success comes from having the right folks on the team. And I was fortunate enough that my first employee, her name was Lauren. Lauren joined me, went to new franchisee training. She was, vital in our growth, from the beginning, and really treated this business like it was her own. And she fell in love with the Express brand. And so as we would, have developmental conversations, I kept asking, what do you want to do? And she says, I want to own an office. I love this brand. I want to become a franchisee. You've shown me the path. And so we worked for about a year and a half after that to help make that come true. And she, 5.5 years ago, launched and became a franchisee. And so super proud of that fact that, we were able to develop her from within, and now we're getting to see her have just great success. We talked about Winchester. Zach was a sales rep for me for 3 or 4 years, and Zach was, again, passionate about the brand, and just kept eyeing that Winchester territory, and so finally we partnered together and bought that location. My second recruiter, my second hire, Amanda, is now an operations manager in this office and has become a partner this year. And so, for me, gosh, growing our business and helping the community is wonderful. But I think, being able to provide a career path for these folks as well really, really kind of brings it all together.
It sounds to me a lot like your leadership style is about empowering others.
100%.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's really, really cool. Especially because you're also when it comes to the client side, you're
Mhm.
also meeting people at a moment where And I'm talking about those people who are looking for work, not necessarily the company side. You're meeting them at a point that's can be pretty low, right? I think about the times where I've been job hunting, and that can be a really hard moment in people's lives. And you're also empowering those people, right? Helping them find a job. So, yeah, that just really strikes me as do you feel like in your previous line of work in the restaurant business that that was something that you cultivated? Were you always destined for this kind of work?
I don't know. It definitely helped pave a path though to help drive some success. I think just the team building in a past life,
Mm,
a lot of career pathing and trying to continual training and development. I think really helped. I think the P&L aspect of running a restaurant, being in the hospitality world, understanding the labor side and workers' comp and unemployment and overtime and how all that affects, could affect the P&L and L and the bottom line has helped me at least with having client conversations, right? And,
mm.
how we can impact their business and help impact their bottom line. And I think it's helped me, I guess, just be a little more consultative. I also think the hospitality side, is so recipe driven from a restaurant. And to me,
I feel like pun intended right there,
oh,
right?
yeah. I mean, we preached, follow the recipe. If you make it the same way, it's going to turn out and taste the same. And for me, that the express system was the perfect recipe for me, right? And so I think that was one of the things that drew me in of looking at a 30-year-old brand 12 years ago, and now a 42-year-old brand is, the system was proven, and really, I say all the time, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but if you'll give me the recipe, I'll follow it. And really, I think that's really what's helped drive success.
Well, and I think it's a really good point to say that if you are interested in becoming a franchisee, that being willing to follow the recipe is a critical aspect of being a successful franchisee, right? You're
100%.
buying
Yeah.
into a proven system. You can't really kind of go it alone and do kind of your own thing because that's well, why would you become a franchisee then,
That's right.
right? Okay, so what's kind of your I want you to think about when you first started, and what your day-to-day work life was like compared to what it's like now being a business owner 12
Mhm.
years later.
Well, from the hospitality world, I was 30 days on, 1 day off, and every night, every weekend, every holiday. And so for me, gosh, early on, it's never an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. I mean, and, there's a lot of after hours that goes into getting your business off the ground. But we're here every day. I mean, it's we're constantly. I think this is the type of business that if you feel like you've arrived, you're going to start going backwards, right? A great mentor of mine always said that when you're green, you're growing, and when you're ripe, you're rotting. And so,
Mm,
I think it's in the beginning, getting in and bringing the energy to your team and setting them up with a great game plan, but then giving them the autonomy to run their desk like a CEO and get out and pull the doors. In the beginning, you're an outside sales rep, or at least I was. And so, that was new to me, but getting out and setting appointments and networking in the community and grinding and then coming back and having the faith, trusting but verify that your team has your back and is doing what they need to do, and then again debriefing and just rinse and repeat, day in and day out of just all of that express recipe and that express formula. Are folks driving in top talent, and are we interviewing enough people? Are we talking to enough companies, and in order to make enough matches? For me, I've been really fortunate, as I talked about some of the folks earlier. But I have a great team, and again, with Amanda running the charge now and our training and recruiting and working with a lot of our clients, I'm able to kind of work more on the business from 30,000 feet. It's actually enabled me. I have a second job now, running the emerging entrepreneur program for Express headquarters. And so that's an opportunity, which it's great to be able to give back. That this program brings folks who have an entrepreneurial spirit, who've dreamed of running their own business, who are passionate about sales. We bring them into a 1-year training program where they place them with a mentoring office. And the end result is to hopefully provide an opportunity for them to become a franchisee. And so, I'm able to help recruit and lead the charge on mentoring and training those folks. And so that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for having the strong team around. But Yeah, I mean, we never let our foot off the gas. That's for sure. I mean, I think that, we approach every day with, how are we better than we were yesterday? And, how do we beat the previous week? And just knowing that the more companies we're working with, the more folks in our community that we're putting to work and, the larger impact we're making on the community. So.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, presumably, someone maybe with like a little bit less ambition than you could just be working less right now at your 12 years in. But
Why would
you
you want to? No.
well, I mean, it's very clear to me from speaking with you that you're very motivated by helping other people and empowering other people. So it follows that you would have taken on this new role with the corporate side of Express. So I
Well, don't get me wrong. I take plenty of vacation. I get plenty of free time. So I think that is one of the beauties of becoming a franchisee. Right, early on, yes, you've got to put in the work, and you're afraid to take a day off. But
sure.
I take plenty of time now, and I get a lot of freedoms. Um, but again, I think we've built a team around us, and anyway, so I'm very very thankful for the
Mhm.
team and for the ability to do the things that I get to do. So.
How many employees do you have at this point?
Our Morgantown location is 9 plus me. Yeah, so we've got recruiters in all segments, skilled trades, office services, professional, light industrial. We've got some support staff with them. We've got my wife actually joined the team 9 or 10 months ago and is doing outside business development for us as well.
That's
And
great.
so, yeah, we've got a strong presence here in the Morgantown community.
That's great. So it's really becoming a family
It
business.
is, yeah. She's a much better salesperson than I am.
Well, it's important to know your strengths, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. What for somebody who's watching this recording and kind of thinking about, what if I were to take the leap and invest in a franchise, especially one like Express Employment Professionals, what advice would you give them?
Well, with our brand, I think it's really, it's a proven system. So follow the system, right? Get in, follow the system. Lean on the franchise community. I mean,
Yeah,
it's some of the best mentors that I have are other franchisees that I've met from the early days, and really through every training that I've been involved with. It's just constantly trying to meet and understand what's working for other folks, and having someone else to just hear you out, or give you advice on whatever that challenge might be. And I think participate. With our brand, corporate puts so much into giving back, into just training and development, and whether that's for each of our staff, gosh, investing in your staff to participate in trainings, and the Express Leadership Academy and all the things that are out there for continued development. I think just grab a hold of all of those resources, and just dive in, 100%.
yeah. Yeah, it does sound like there's a lot offered to you and you just have to decide to go for it, to take
Yeah,
advantage of it. Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, fantastic. Chad, is there anything else that you would want to add? I guess just like what you would wish to say to somebody who was thinking about this opportunity.
It's the best decision I've ever made. I think, I come from a training background, designing training programs. I think the support from day one to year 12 is second to none, the continued development. And I think not only the opportunity to make your dreams come true, but the impact, your community, and impact the folks that you have on your team. It's so rewarding, and just very thankful and honored, to have the opportunity to be talking to you and to even be recommended for this award. So appreciate your time.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's so nice to talk to you too. I think, again, I love this aspect of my job, talking to franchisees, especially from brands that really care about their
Right.
franchisees, enough, of course, to survey them yearly, but also to receive pretty high marks so that they end up on our list, like the top 200. So I just wanna congratulate you and your successful career thus far. What do you think the future holds, Chad?
Well, we're going to keep driving this bus forward. We're always looking at potentially another territory, and we're going to continue to build and grow this emerging entrepreneur program, and just keep expanding, and hopefully building, continually building that pipeline of future leaders for our brand. So.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for your time, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's been a blast.
Bye.
Thanks.